Bitwise to hold HYPE on balance sheet, recycle 10% of BHYP fees. Into token Bitwise said on May 19th that it will hold HYPE, the native token of the Hyperliquid Perpetuals Exchange, on the firm's own balance sheet and direct 10% of the management fee from its Hyperliquid ETF, ticker BHYP, toward buying more of the token. The disclosure was posted by the issuer and circulated by Cointelegraph in the early UTC hours, after BHYP began trading earlier this month. The structure is unusual for a US-listed crypto product. Most spot ETF sponsors run a flat fee, custody the underlying asset on behalf of shareholders, and keep their corporate treasury separate from the asset they wrap. Bitwise is doing something different here. A portion of fee revenue is being recycled into the same token the fund tracks, with the issuer itself sitting as a direct holder on its balance sheet. A fee recycling commitment, not a rebate. The 10% allocation does not flow back to BHYP shareholders. It accrues to Bitwise as a corporate position in HYPE. That distinction matters. Investors in the ETF still pay the disclosed management fee in full, and the fund's net asset value continues to track the spot HYPE price, plus staking yield as previously described. What changes is the sponsor's incentive alignment. Bitwise is publicly tying the success of its own treasury to the same token its fund is built around. If HYPE rallies, the firm's balance sheet HYPE position appreciates alongside investor holdings. If HYPE collapses, Bitwise eats some of that drawdown on the corporate side too. That is closer to the issuer behavior crypto-native investors expect from token-aligned founders than to the conventional posture of a US asset manager. Context: BHYP just launched BHYP listed earlier in May with an in-house staking design and went on to post the strongest altcoin ETF debut of 2026 by first week volume. Hyperliquid itself has been one of the few clear winners in this cycle on the perpetual side, recently capturing about 90% of perp DEX daily active users. The fee recycling pledge looks like a follow-up move designed to keep the narrative going past launch volume. It also gives Bitwise a story to retail and institutional buyers that competing single-asset ETF wrappers cannot easily copy. The issuer is buying the asset too, on a recurring basis, with revenue produced by the fund itself. Bitwise has not published a fixed cadence for the on-balance sheet purchases, or said whether they will be executed on-chain through Hyperliquid order books or via an OTC desk. Those operational details will matter for how visible the flow is to the market. Market backdrop as of May 19th, the announcement landed in a soft tape. As of May 19, 2026, BTC is trading at 77,053 hours, down 0.1% on the day and 5.3% on the week, while ETH sits at 2,135, up 0.8% on the day but down 8.2% on the week. SOL is at 85.49 and the Fear and Greed Index reads 40 neutral, based on the live snapshot at the time of writing. In that environment, a discretionary token bid from an ETF sponsor is unlikely to move HYPE on its own. The signal is structural rather than tactical. It tells the market that Bitwise expects HYPE to remain a long-term position for the firm, not a passive wrapper that the issuer is neutral on. Read-throughs for other issuers. Two things to watch from here. First, whether competing issuers reframe their own single-asset funds with similar commitments. Bitwise has set a marketing precedent that is hard to ignore for any sponsor pitching a thematic crypto ETF where the underlying token has a real native economy attached to it. A flat fee with zero issuer skin in the game is now the less aggressive position. Second, how the SEC and the fund's independent boards treat fee revenue-funded sponsor purchases of the same asset the fund holds. The structure does not appear to conflict with how spot crypto ETFs are currently regulated, since the purchases sit on Bitwise's corporate balance sheet rather than inside the fund. Still, conflicts and related party disclosure language in future amendments are worth reading carefully. For now, the practical takeaway is narrow and concrete. A US ETF sponsor is publicly committing to be a recurring buyer of the token its fund tracks, using the fund's own revenue stream to do it.